So, my name is Lisa Twig, and I'm adopted.
Hi, my name's Michelle, and I am an adoptive mom.
My name is Amanda Lord, and I am a birth mother.
Why did Rick and I decide to adopt? Rick and I decided it was never a defining moment in our married life. It was long before we were married. I'm adopted by my father, and when Rick and I were getting to know each other in the early years, the early weeks really, of dating, he shared with me that his family he has a younger sister who is adopted, and about the 4th month we were dating, his sister adopted a little girl. And so with my experience in my family and then the experiences in his family, we had talked about if we continued our relationship and if we were to get married one day, we always knew that adoption would be a part of our family. It wasn't something, oh, this is the day we decided, or infertility made us come to that decision. We always knew. We just continued the path of living life, and when we didn't conceive, there wasn't ever a time where we were downhearted because we always knew we had that hope of adoption. We just didn't know when that opportunity was going to come our way. So yes, there was a lot of pain in the infertility route, but yet there was always this hope of knowing that we're going to be parents one day. We just didn't know how that opportunity was going to come to us.
But then I started really thinking about, like, what can I actually give my son that he deserves, and that I can't give him. So I made all kinds of charts and Venn diagrams and bullet points and numbered lists and color categorize everything of, like, what I have 3 options here. Technically, I could have an abortion, which never would have happened. I could parent, which obviously I wasn't equipped to do, and I mean I could have probably have, but my son would have gone wanting. He would have gone needing. There are things that I would not be able to provide for him. And adoption, and the ultimate reason that I placed him for adoption is because I couldn't give him everything he deserved.
I wanted to say thank you for choosing life, for giving me life. She had left in a letter, I think, that she wanted me to give me the best shot that I could possibly have at life, and that meant with 2 parents who were able to fully support me. And so I wanted to say thank you and really just kind of get to know her and see if there are things about my personality that I just kind of was curious about. Both of my parents are very nice, but they aren't really sarcastic like I am, and I kind of, those little things, like I didn't want to literally find out if I was sarcastic because of her, but little things like where did I get my humor from and things like that. I wanted to see what she looked like too.
Because of my Heart of Thanksgiving, on our first trip to Ohio with our oldest, I've done a private blog for our birth moms, and I document monthly on there with our children. I put pictures and details of what they're doing and how they're growing, and it's my constant way of honoring them, but also my constant way of saying thank you. I want you to know this. I want you to know how awesome they are and how great they're doing. And I share things about their personality. So when you ask me what I would have said in that moment, it's not just about that moment. It's about a constant honoring of Thanksgiving.
If I could say anything to my son, it would be that I love him and that I hope he knows that, and I hope he does not feel abandoned, and that he knows any decisions that I made for him was for him and him alone. Be good and don't do drugs. If I could say anything to my son's parents, it would be thank you. And to ask them one thing: please love him as much as I love him.
Extreme gratefulness. I'm very grateful. I mean, the reason I am where I am now as a pro-life activist, as a human being, is because my adoptive mom decided that she would love a child that wasn't technically her own. And people ask me all the time if like who's your real mom, and I mean, I don't get offended by it, but I'm like the person who raised me, who taught me everything, and then put me through college and things like that. I'm extremely appreciative and love my birth mom, but when people say who is your mom, I turn over and point to my adoptive mom and say that's her.
I think one of the misconceptions is that, and we hear this regularly, it's people say, why did her mother give her up for adoption? And it makes me cringe. The misconception is here is that birth moms don't just give children away. Every birth mom that I have watched and had a privilege of having a relationship with, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of consideration, there's a lot of counsel, there's a lot of that goes into this decision. Am I going to parent or am I going to choose adoption? So the misconception is that birth moms just give children away, because they don't. There's a lot that comes into that decision that is a very selfless decision. And I have told my children that, oh honey, they do not just give away.
That those like I said, like that we don't consider our adoptive parents as our real parents, and there's definitely some kind of feeling there of that it's different than being a biological child, but it's still you feel loved, you feel cared for.
A really common misconception about birth moms is that we're all drug addicted, living on the streets, homeless, begging for money, and that can't be further from the truth. I have a full-time job and I love it, and I don't go want anything. I know so many birth moms who break every stereotype that you could ever imagine with birth moms. I have birth moms that are career-oriented, who now have multiple kids, who are living great lives with wonderful husbands. Do it. I would tell anyone who is considering adopting a child that they really should not just think about what they want to and are able to provide that child, but the background history of that child, and to really take into consideration that child's history and their birth parents' history really makes up that child as well, and that they should be open to sharing that with their child, because that child wasn't just born in a vacuum and given to them. That child has a history that they should be able to know and learn and grow from.
It definitely is something that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it's okay to be like they talked about my birth mom, that she knew it was the right choice. It was the right decision to make to place me, but it was very hard for her to do. I mean, whenever a woman has a child, there's a connection, and that connection shouldn't be like people saying, well, if you get pregnant, you can just have an adoption, or just get like adopt out your child, replace your child, and or someone who's like in my parents' case, who were they weren't able to have children, so they opted to adopt. To someone who's struggling with infertility and just saying, well, you could just adopt. As an adoptee, I know that a lot of love and care went into deciding to place me for adoption. So I would say it's an amazing opportunity, but go into it with care and consideration and be in it for the right reasons.
I think I shared it earlier of the question some have of, can you love another person's child? I just think for Rick and I and ourselves, think about your friends and your family, and think about those people in your life that you love wholeheartedly. Look at my husband and I. We were not family, but we have a very deep and adoring love for each other. it extends beyond the biological.